One Sabbath, says Luke chapter 14, verse 1, when Jesus went to eat at the house of a prominent Pharisee, he was being carefully watched. There, in front of him, was a man suffering from abnormal swelling of his body. Jesus asked the Pharisees and the experts in the law, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath or not? They remained silent. So, taking hold of the man, Jesus healed him and sent him on his way. Then he asked them, if one of you has a child or an ox that falls into a well on the Sabbath day, will you not immediately pull it out? They had nothing to say. There are lots of different kinds of silences. There's the silence when you don't know the answer. There's the silence when words fail you. There's the one that you keep because you're scared to tell the truth. And there's the silence here of the Pharisees and the teachers of the law, who I believe just think they are literally too good to answer Jesus because they know everything and they want the crowd to like them. And they think that Jesus will condemn himself out of his own mouth by his own actions as a Torah-breaking, Sabbath-breaking bad Jew, not one of the people of God. But Jesus, he very often chose the Sabbath to do good. He healed people, especially on Saturdays, I think. Would you picture this poor, swollen man at the table of the house of the Pharisee? And not just any old Pharisee, this is a prominent Pharisee, says St. Luke. A big cheese among big cheeses, this one. Was the swollen man there, maybe as a table servant? Or, worse, had he been brought in exploitatively, callously by this prominent Pharisee to see if Jesus would do again what he'd done before and break the oppressive rules of the Sabbath? We don't know. But picture this person, swollen and humiliated, suffering, standing in front of Jesus. Jesus did three things for him. He took hold of him. What are you imagining there? I'm imagining a hug. He healed him. Maybe Jesus just said the word. He often did. Jesus often healed with a word of love or a word of affirmation. He sent him on his own way. Do you know that Luke often chooses his verbs that he applies to Jesus in any one bit of a story, very carefully, very well-chosen verbs, deliberately. They're meant to be symbolic of how Jesus treats all of us. You, me, any believer. We'll come back to that because St. Luke does mean us to consider how Jesus does these three things for us too. Jesus takes hold of us. Jesus heals us. Jesus sends us. But there, over dinner, in the Pharisee's house, I think Jesus' love and healing for this poor, swollen man are matched by his anger at the rigidity and the legalism and the unbending lack of compassion that said, it's the Sabbath. Don't be kind on the Sabbath. Instead, Jesus' reaction is, let the love flow. He has two questions for people who don't put love first, as the Pharisees didn't that Sabbath. He asks, is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? And then, if your child, or even just your cow, falls down the well on Sabbath, don't just pull them straight out. Of course you do. But I do love that Jesus asks the two questions, because every question that Jesus ever asked, and do you know, he asks 235 questions in the Gospels. In Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, he asks 235 questions. I know, I've read the Gospels, especially looking for questions, and counted them and written them all down. And every single time, pretty much every single time that Jesus asks a question in the Gospels, it's to give someone a chance to change their life. Here, alongside the releasing of the swollen man from his pains and his sickness, Jesus is offering, through these two questions, release to the Pharisees from the narrow-minded legalism that has bound them. He's offering them a liberation into a liberating spirituality of freedom. But they won't take it. They won't even consider answering his questions. They are silent. Incidentally, I really love the Jewish concept of Sabbath as release. The point of the Sabbath in Judaism, then and now, is that it's a day free of work, free of toil, free of the cares and demands of the everyday. It's a freedom day. Sabbath is a liberation festival once a week. It's freedom as it was always meant to be in the life of the people of God. My Jewish friends have great love for Shabbat. They revel in the liberties and releases as surely as Genesis 1 says that God does. Don't you love it that in the first chapter of our scriptures, shared with Jewish sisters and brothers, released from the work of creation, God kicks back, chills out, cools down, God rests. Jesus, he often liberated people on the Sabbath. He loved setting people free. And it's our faith, it's our gospel. This is the gospel we preach at Holy Trinity Church in Leicester, that Jesus still does that. He relishes bringing freedom to people's lives. He relishes releasing you and me. Just as he did that Sabbath morning so long ago, still today, Jesus has got a 3-step program for you. There ain't no Pharisees or legalists. There ain't no strict voices to tell you what's not allowed that's going to get in Jesus' way with his 3-step program. This is what he's got for you. 3 things. He will take hold of you. He will heal you. And he will send you. So, if you want to make an application of this story to your own life, then notice that the silence of the Pharisees in the story, I've suggested, was a supercilious and haughty silence. We're not going to dignify Jesus's behavior with any kind of an answer. But there is another kind of silence which I seek. It's the silence that is struck by the awesome beauty of the claims of Jesus on my life. Could we keep that silence for a moment now before we pray? And just notice that Jesus is present with us now, and he's here to do 3 things: to hug us, and to heal us, and to send us out. Keep the silence for a moment. And we pray. God, please, will you come to us in this silence? You know all the obstacles that we see to our being healed and being sent out to bring your kingdom in. But none of those are really obstacles to you at all. So we pray, give us your hugs, give us your healing. Send us out to bring your kingdom in. Do it today.